The sound comes first. Metal screaming against metal. Glass exploding like ice in a storm. Then silence. Thick, ringing, unreal. The night breathes again, slow and cold, as rain hisses against a ruined road. She crawls out of the wreckage on shaking hands, blood warm on her temple, her ankles screaming with every step. Steam rises from the crushed car behind her, curling into the dark like something alive. The air smells of oil and rain and fear. She doesn't remember swerving. She doesn't remember the impact. Only the moment after, when the world felt wrong, tilted, as if it had decided she didn't belong in it anymore. She stumbles toward the trees because staying feels worse than moving. The forest looms, black and endless, branches clawing at the sky. Her breath comes in short, panicked pulls. Every sound is too loud, on rain drumming on leaves, her own heartbeat thundering in her ears. And then, something else. A low sound, distant but unmistakable. A howl. Or maybe just the wind. She can't tell anymore. Her foot slips in the mud and she goes down hard, palms scraping, a sharp cry torn from her throat. She presses a hand to her side, feeling heat there that has nothing to do with pain. It's spreading, crawling under her skin. Her vision flickers, silver sparks dancing at the edges like broken stars. She blinks hard, frightened. This isn't shock. This isn't adrenaline. This is something else. She pushes herself up and keeps going, limping deeper into the trees. Another sound follows, branches snapping, snowmelt crunching under heavy steps. Too measured to be coincidence. Her chest tightens. Tears blur her eyes. She doesn't know who is hunting her or why, only that the night suddenly feels crowded. Her hands tremble as she lifts them, and for a heartbeat, faint threads of silver light flicker between her fingers. She gasps and pulls them back like she's been burned. "No," she whispers, the word breaking. "Please. Not now." She doesn't understand what's happening to her body, only that it feels awake in a way it never has before. Dangerous, uncontained. A memory slams into her without warning, voices layered with judgment, faces turned away. "You don't belong." The words echo with the same cold certainty as the rain. Her throat tightens. She presses her forehead to the bark of a tree, breathing hard, trying not to fall apart. "I'm sorry," she whispers to no one, to everyone. "I'm trying." Another howl rolls through the forest, closer this time. Real, and her fear sharpens into something raw and electric. Whatever she is running from, whatever she is becoming, there is no turning back now. And if you love intense rejected Omega stories and fated mates, stay with her and subscribe to Moonlight Mate's story because this night is only the beginning. The forest goes quiet in a way that feels wrong. No wind, no rain on leaves. Even her breathing seems too loud. She turns, heart hammering, just as a massive shadow steps out from between the trees. He doesn't rush her. He doesn't snarl. He simply stands there, tall and unmovable, as if the forest itself has decided to take a shape. Moonlight catches in his eyes, and they glow gold. Steady, assessing, ancient. Power rolls off him in waves she can feel in her bones. Every instinct in her body screams danger. And yet, something deeper goes still. "Don't move," he says. His voice is low, controlled, rough around the edges like it's been worn down by too many nights like this. The words should terrify her. Instead, they anchor her. Her knees buckle anyway, pain finally winning, and she grabs at a tree to stay upright. He steps closer. The ground seems to respond to him, branches parting, shadows pulling back. She hears movement all around them. Wolves in the dark, eyes watching, teeth waiting. Her pulse spikes, but before she can speak, he does something that makes her breath catch. He says her name. Not a question. Not a guess. He says it like he knows it. Like he's carried it with him. Her mouth opens, but no sound comes out. How could he know? She's never been here before. Never crossed into this territory. Her fear sharpens into suspicion. I'll shout. He doesn't bare his teeth. He shout. He doesn't bare his teeth. He simply lets a controlled pulse of his presence roll outward. It's silent, but it hits like a command. The forest exhales. One by one, the shadows retreat. Footsteps fade. Eyes vanish. She sways, dizzy, the heat under her skin flaring again. Before she can fall, he's there. His hands close around her with surprising certainty, lifting her off the ground like she weighs nothing at all. She should fight. She knows she should. But the moment his arms secure her, something inside her settles. The burning eases. Her breath stutters as warmth spreads through her. Not the wild, painful heat from before, but something steadier. Contained. His touch isn't gentle. His grip is firm, practiced, meant to hold struggling bodies. Yet he adjusts without thinking, careful of her injuries, cradling her closer to his chest. She feels his heartbeat. Slow. Strong. Real. "You're safe," he says quietly, not as a promise, but a fact. She doesn't know why she believes him. She doesn't know why her fear softens instead of sharpens. All she knows is that in his arms, the night feels less like it's trying to swallow her whole. As he turns and carries her deeper into the forest, she watches his face in the shifting light. Hard lines, focused eyes, something guarded beneath the surface. He is not kind. He is not comfortable. He is controlled and held tightly in check. And for the first time since the crash, since the rejection, since the words "you don't belong" carved themselves into her memory, she lets herself rest against him. Just for a moment. Her body rests against him, but her mind drifts far from the forest path beneath his feet. Pain has a way of opening old doors. With every steady step he takes, memories bleed through her, uninvited and sharp. She remembers the first time they called her Omega out loud. Not as a rank, as a verdict. She had been standing in the center of the pack clearing, barely old enough to understand why everyone had stepped back from her. The elders wouldn't meet her eyes. Her mother's hands trembled at her sides, torn between pulling her close and pretending she wasn't there at all. Someone whispered at first. Then another voice joined in. Wrong. Dangerous. Cursed. The words spread faster than fear ever could. She remembers the day her power showed itself. She had been small, frightened, cornered by boys older and stronger who thought an Omega couldn't fight back. Her heart had pounded so hard it hurt. And then the heat came. Sudden. Violent. Light flashing silver across her hands, cracking the ground beneath her feet. Everyone had frozen, not in awe, in terror. They never asked how it felt. They never asked if she was afraid. They only asked how to hide her, or get rid of her. Exile came quietly. No ceremony. No goodbye. Just a packed decree spoken in low voices, as if shame could be softened by whispering. She was given a bag, a warning, and a road leading away from everything she'd known. She walked it alone, head bowed, believing what they'd taught her, that surviving was the best she could hope for. Destiny was for others. Love was for others. She learned to keep her power buried deep, to live small, to expect nothing. In his arms now, that old shame coils tight in her chest. She expects disgust when he looks at her. Fear. Rejection. But when she shifts slightly, flinching in her sleep, he adjusts his grip without a word. His gaze drops to her face, studying the lines of strain, the dried blood, the quiet resilience etched into her expression. He sees the tension she holds even unconscious, the way she never fully lets go. He recognizes it. Not a weakness. Survival. He doesn't know her story yet. Not all of it. But he knows strength when he sees it. Know what it costs. As the forest closes around them, her breathing steadies, even as her past presses in. For the first time in years, someone is carrying her weight without asking her to disappear. And somewhere beneath the fear and the shame, a fragile thought stirs. Maybe she was never meant to vanish. Maybe she was meant to endure. The forest changes before she even realizes it has. The trees grow older, their trunks thick and twisted, bark etched with time and memory. The air deepens, heavy with something unseen. Even the night seems to slow, as if the world itself is holding its breath. He sets her down gently at the edge of a clearing neither of them speaks about, yet both recognize. A place hidden from maps and footsteps. A place the forest remembers. She steps forward without meaning to. The moment her boot presses into the moss-covered ground, the earth hums. Ancient stones rise from the soil in a wide circle, their surfaces carved with symbols worn by centuries, yet suddenly sharp with light. One by one, faint silver lines ignite along the runes, pulsing like a heartbeat. Not his. Hers. The glow responds to her presence alone, brightening as she moves closer, as if the stones have been waiting and grown tired of waiting. Her breath catches. Fear crawls up her spine. This isn't coincidence. It can't be. She lifts her trembling hand, and the symbols flare brighter, casting pale fire across her skin. Images crash into her without warning. A woman standing tall in silver flame, eyes calm, unafraid, power flowing through her as naturally as breath. Then the vision shifts. A child held high beneath a full moon, a crown of light hovering above their head while wolves bow, not in submission, but in recognition. Her knees buckle. She knows those stories. Every pack does. Warnings told in hushed voices to frighten children into obedience. I'm the child of the flame. The bloodline that would either save them or burn the world down trying. She remembers the elders' words from long ago, spoken as if destiny itself were a curse. She remembers how quickly those stories ended when her power surfaced. No, she whispers now, voice breaking. You're wrong. She shakes her head, stepping back, as if denial might dim the light. It doesn't. The stones burn brighter, responding to her panic, her refusal. Doubt twists her chest tight. She is no savior. She is the girl they cast out. The Omega they feared. The woman who barely survived her own life. Behind her, the Alpha stands silent. When she turns, she sees it in his eyes. Not desire, not suspicion, something heavier. Reverence braided with fear. The weight of understanding settling into his posture. He has spent his life guarding his people from legends like this. And now one stands before him, shaking, bleeding, human in her terror. The forest seems to lean in around them. Destiny has spoken, and she is not ready to answer. The forest shatters its silence without warning. Footsteps tear through the undergrowth, fast and deliberate, circling the grove like a tightening noose. The air turns sharp, metallic, charged with hostility. Shapes emerge between the trees, wolves shifting mid-stride, bodies snapping into human form as they cross the sacred boundary without permission. Rival scents poison the clearing. Old grudges, old fear, old blood. The stones dim, as if bracing. She shouldn't be here. The voice cuts through the night like a blade. Another follows, louder, crueler. That thing is an abomination, fingers point at her. Eyes burn with accusation. You saw the runes. You felt it. That power will destroy us all. Her chest tightens. Every word lands where old wounds never healed. She has heard this before. Different faces. Same hatred. The Alpha steps forward instinctively, placing himself half a step in front of her. The movement is small, but the message is clear. Murmurs ripple through the gathered wolves. He is challenged immediately. A rival Alpha bares his teeth, voice dripping with authority sharpened by envy. You protect her. You defy the council. You choose her. You abandon your people. The words hang there, heavy and deliberate. She feels the choice pressing into his spine. Feels the weight of every life tied to his decision. The bond between them trembles, fragile and unspoken, stretched thin by the eyes watching, judging, waiting for him to fail. Her breath stutters. The heat inside her spikes. It starts as a tremor under her feet. A low groan from the earth itself. Silver light leaks through the cracks in the stone circle, racing like veins across the ground. Panic surges through her, sharp and overwhelming. She didn't mean to. She tries to pull it back, tries to breathe it down, but fear is a terrible fuel. The silver fire erupts. The forest floor splits with a violent crack. Energy lashes upward, wind screaming as it whips her hair back, flames curling around her arms without burning her skin. Wolves stagger away, shields raised, faces pale with shock. The stones blaze, brighter than before, forcing everyone into silence. She stands at the center of it, shaking, eyes wide, power roaring through her like a storm she never learned to name. When it fades, the night is deathly still. No one speaks at first. Then the verdict falls, cold and final. She must leave. The Alpha turns to her, conflict etched deep into his face. He doesn't stop them. Doesn't fight the ruling. That hurts more than any insult. She nods once. No tears. No pleading. She steps away from the circle on her own terms, shoulders squared, chin lifted, every step heavy with resolve. If the world insists on making her a threat, then she will decide what kind. The cave breathes quietly around them. Water drips somewhere deep in the dark, steady and patient, like the slow counting of time. Firelight flickers against stone walls worn smooth by centuries of secrets. Outside, the forest keeps its distance, as if even it knows not to intrude. She sits on a flat rock near the fire, shoulders hunched, hands folded tightly in her lap. Without the roar of magic or the cruelty of watching eyes, the weight of everything finally settles. Her body trembles, not from cold, but from the release of holding herself together for too long. He kneels in front of her without a word. His hands are large, rough from battle and leadership, yet careful as they lift her torn sleeve. Blood has dried along her skin, dark and sticky. He cleans the wound slowly, methodically, as if the act itself matters. Each touch grounds her. The heat inside her, that wild silver pulse, eases under his presence, quieting like a restless animal soothed by familiarity it doesn't understand. She watches his face while he works, the furrow in his brow, the way his jaw tightens, not with anger, but restraint. He is close enough that she can feel his breath, unsteady and controlled, brushing against her skin. "I didn't choose this life," he says quietly, eyes still on her arm. The words surprise her. Being Alpha, carrying everyone's fear, everyone's expectations. He pauses, fingers still. Loneliness comes with the crown. No one tells you that part. The fire pops softly. She swallows. Her voice, when it comes, is thin but honest. "I don't know how to be wanted," she admits. "Every time someone looks at me, I'm waiting for them to see what's wrong, to decide I'm too much, or not enough." He looks up then. Their eyes lock, and something shifts. The cave feels smaller, warmer, more dangerous in a way no battle ever was. "I've been running my whole life," she continues, words spilling now, from packs, from promises, from hope. Her hand curls into her skirt, because hope hurts when it leaves. He reaches out, hesitates, then cups her cheek. The touch is feather light, as if asking permission. She doesn't pull away. "I see you," he says, voice low, unguarded. "All of you. Not what they fear. Not what they tried to erase." Their faces drift closer. Breath mingles. The space between them hums with everything unsaid. Her lips part. His thumb brushes her jaw. For one fragile heartbeat, she lets herself believe. Then fear tightens around her chest. She doesn't pull away, but she doesn't lean in either. She stays right there, suspended between wanting and surviving, knowing that if she falls, she may not be able to get back up. The night air smelled of frost and betrayal. The forest, once a sanctuary, now echoed with whispers sharp as blades. Her name was shouted, not in awe, yet not in reverence, but as a verdict. "She will end us," the council's voices thundered, dripping with fear, suspicion, and hatred. Every syllable cut deeper than any wound the rival pack had ever inflicted. The sacred grove, once alive with quiet magic, seemed to recoil, the runes dimming, shadows lengthening around her trembling form. She stepped forward, trying to explain, to reach some shard of reason in the eyes turned against her, but the words caught in her throat. Every face she had trusted twisted into accusation. Every hope she had nurtured cracked. The prophecy, once a whisper of destiny, was now wielded as a weapon, twisting her power into a threat she had never intended. The weight of their judgment pressed on her chest like iron. Her pulse raced, the heat inside her spine thrumming uncontrollably. Silver sparks flickered across her skin, igniting the hair on her arms, a storm of light trapped by fear and fury. The Alpha, her Alpha, stood frozen. His eyes, golden and fierce, darted between her and the Council. He could have stopped this. He could have silenced the whispers, commanded loyalty, protected her. But he hesitated. Just a moment. A heartbeat. That brief falter was enough. That moment shattered her. She realized, with a burning clarity, that if she waited for anyone else to save her, she would die under the weight of their fear. Her rage surged, pure and unrelenting, curling through her veins like wildfire. The silver fire erupted without thought, without mercy. It licked the edges of the grove, wrapping trees, rocks, and snow in a luminescent inferno. Sparks scattered, illuminating her face, twisted, bright, terrifying, and beautiful. Her breath came in harsh, ragged gasps, but her eyes were unflinching, blazing with the power they had tried to condemn. And then, she vanished. The snow swirled, catching the silver light, as if the very forest had swallowed her whole. Her absence left an echo, a hollow of silence that pressed against the chest of every witness. Hearts raced. Fear lingered in the cold air. The Alpha's hands itched to reach for her, but all that remained was the faint scent of ozone and the whisper of a power that had been denied too long. In that vanishing, she became more than human, more than Omega. She became a force no fear, no counsel, and no prophecy could contain. And in the shadows the forest waited, knowing she was gone, but not gone forever. The air was thick with smoke, blood, and fear. From the shadows, her boots crunching from the shadows, her boots crunching against frost-covered earth, heart pounding, pulse synchronized with the wild rhythm of her awakening power. Every eye that dared to look upon her froze in recognition, and some in terror. She was no longer the hunted, the rejected Omega, the trembling girl who whispered apologies to the night. She was the storm incarnate, and the world would feel her wrath. Her silver fire coursed through her veins, no longer flickering, no longer uncertain. It obeyed her will, yet it was alive, thrumming with the voice of ancestors long silenced. Whispers, layered and deep, arose from the soil and stone. Claim your destiny, end what must end. Protect the bloodline. Her hands ignited with energy, silver ribbons coiling and snapping like lightning. The pregnant swell of her belly glowed, a beacon and a warning. Life and power intertwined, raw and dangerous, a promise of what was to come. The ruins around them, long-forgotten monuments to an ancient pack, stirred. Cracked stones shivered, runes awoke with a soft hum that grew into a roar, and the forest itself seemed to lean closer, watching, waiting. Trees arched as if bowing to her presence, their frost-laden branches sparkling in the firelight. Every footstep sent tremors through the ground, and every breath carried authority. Even the villains, bold and cruel moments before, faltered, sensing a force they could not comprehend, a justice older than any of them. From the chaos emerged the true enemy, cloaked in shadow and malice. The one who had orchestrated pain, whispered lies, and hunted her relentlessly. Their golden eyes locked, and for the first time she felt no fear. Only clarity. Only the promise of reckoning. The fire in her chest roared, and in that moment she claimed everything: her life, her power, her destiny. Nothing could intimidate her. Nothing could bind her. She stood, luminous and unshaken, a force of nature in a world that had dared to call her weak. And yet, even in her triumph, a shadow hinted at something greater, a storm yet to come. The villain was defeated, yes, but the world still held secrets she had yet to uncover. Her silver flames licked higher, bright against the blackened sky, and the forest echoed with the power of a Luna reborn. This was no longer survival. This was sovereignty. She was not your sacrifice. She was the reckoning. And all who opposed her would learn what it meant to face the child of the flame. The battlefield had quieted, though the echoes of chaos still lingered like smoke that refused to dissipate. Snow, dusted with silver fire's remnants, crunched softly under her boots as she stood, chest rising and falling with the rhythm of a heartbeat that was no longer her own, but somehow belonged to the pulse of the forest, the pulse of every life that trembled in awe at what she had become. Around her, wolves, friends, foes, and witnesses alike kept their distance, their golden eyes wide, uncertain, reverent. And in that stillness the Alpha came forward, each step careful yet desperate, or as though the ground itself might fracture beneath the weight of his plea. His voice, raw and trembling, carried across the frozen clearing. "Stay. Don't leave me here alone." The words were simple, but they held the weight of every choice, every moment of hesitation, every battle fought for her survival. She turned toward him, eyes meeting his, and for a fraction of a heartbeat, she wanted to believe that trust was possible, that the warmth she felt in his gaze could patch the pieces of herself she'd thought shattered forever. Yet the horizon called to her, a silent, haunting invitation to something bigger, something terrifying and magnificent all at once. She inhaled the cold night air, tasting possibility and fear in equal measure, and whispered to herself, the words lost to the wind, am I meant to belong, or to change the world alone?" Her silver fire flickered faintly, reflecting in her pupils, a reminder that destiny never waits for permission. Every heartbeat was a question, every breath a choice. She could feel the tension coiling around her spine like a predator, a question unanswered. Whom would she follow? Her heart, her duty, or the path the universe had carved out for her? And now, listener, I ask you, would you have feared her or followed her? Could you stand beside someone whose very existence defies the world's rules? Someone whose fire might burn everything you've ever known, yet promise everything you've ever wanted? If this story stirred something deep within your soul, if the flicker of her power and her pain reached your heart, then take the next step. Subscribe to Moonlight Mate's story. Because here, every tale is a spark, every shadow a secret, and every heartbeat beneath the moon carries the promise that destiny always burns, even when the night is at its darkest. The snow crunched softly beneath her boots, each step deliberate, carrying her deeper into the dark heart of the forest. Moonlight sifted through skeletal branches, painting silver streaks across her face, highlighting the set of her jaw, the fire in her eyes that had burned through betrayal, fear, and doubt. She moved with a rhythm that was both cautious and unyielding, a predator and a mother, a power awakened but still tethered to something fragile, something human. Every breath puffed in icy clouds, each inhalation a reminder of the life she carried and the life she would protect at any cost. Around her, shadows twisted and shivered. On the forest alive with secrets she could feel more than see. Golden eyes glimmered between trees, reflecting the faint glow of silver sparks that still clung to her skin. She sensed them, watchers, predators, maybe allies, maybe enemies, holding their vigil in silence. Her pulse matched the tremor of the earth, a quiet drum warning of the storms yet to come. And then, almost imperceptible, a voice brushed against the edges of her mind, carried by the wind. "She is not the only one." The words were not a threat, not exactly, but a promise, a prophecy, a warning that destiny was far from finished. Her heartbeat quickened. Was it a challenger, a hidden foe, or something even older, more powerful, waiting in the shadows for the right moment to step forward? She paused, chest heaving, eyes narrowing into the darkness. Every instinct screamed both caution and courage, a tension she had learned to carry like a second skin. Her silver fire flickered faintly, a pulse of power that answered the unspoken challenge, a shimmer of defiance that even the unseen could feel. And as she disappeared into the deeper shadows, the forest seemed to lean closer, holding its breath. The night stretched endless, filled with whispers of futures yet written, of battles yet fought, of mates yet found. One thing was certain, this was only the beginning. The world would remember her name, and the hunt, the fire, the power. It had only just begun. The screen fades to black, but the echoes of her footsteps, her fire, her destiny, linger, waiting for the moon to rise again,